Today we are bringing all of the MMA news straight to you with timestamps if you'd like to skip to any particular part. We're going to be talking about Jon Jones ducking Tom Aspinall. We're going to be talking about Colby Covington ducking Ian Garry potentially. The drama with Sean O'Malley. We're going to be talking about fight announcements. We're going to cover everything that you missed in MMA this week. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's start off with Jon Jones very evidently ducking Tom Aspinall. So the question was honestly for a really big time whether or not Jon Jones was actually ducking Tom Aspinall. But recently, Jon Jones went on a little bit of a Twitter rampage, actually replying to random fans on Twitter. People just saying, hey, you're ducking Aspinall. He's actually responding to these people. He's hiding tweets to his replies, which are absolutely insane. Like, I always say this, man, because Jon Jones I would say that Jon Jones could walk the earth and literally beat up any human being. Like, I would go as far to say that. Jon Jones is probably the toughest guy on this planet, literally. It's always shocking to me that a guy like Jon Jones hides tweets or replies to random fans. Like, he is, I'm not saying like he's above criticism or anything, but you would think that a guy like that wouldn't be so butthurt about what people say online about him, which is crazy. So, for a long time, we weren't sure if Jon Jones was exactly running away from Tom Aspinall, but now he is advocating for a fight against Alex Pereira. He wants to fight Stipe Miocic. He's pretending to care about Stipe Miocic, his family, nobody is seeing through it. Everybody's finally seeing that Jon Jones is officially running away from Tom Aspinall. We made an entire video diving into his actual tweets. If you want to go find those, they're very easy to find on the channel. I think it was two videos ago, that's what it was. Regardless, it's very easy to find on the channel if you would like to actually dive into what tweets Jon Jones was replying to people. It's really crazy. Next up, guys, I want to bring you over to Reddit because if you follow the channel, you would know that typically when we have these MMA news roundups, we take a look at what the most upvoted, most talked about posts are on Reddit, and you're not going to believe which was trending this week, okay? One of the most popular posts on the entire UFC subreddit, I will show it to you right now, and I'm not even going to comment on it, man. It's Karolina Kowalkiewicz saying, "It wasn't my day." Karolina Kowalkiewicz on her UFC 301 loss. I will leave it at that. You can wonder why it was trending. I'm not going to say any more about this one personally, but actually, I find it funny when things like that trend, to be honest with you. Out of everything that there is to talk about MMA, it wasn't my day. Next up, a big topic of conversation this week was Dustin Poirier. He had an interview and he was saying that for the first time, he was going to bring his daughter to his fight at UFC 302 against Islam Makhachev. He wants to show her that he can accomplish his dreams if you put your mindset to it. Of course, I'm paraphrasing in that. Dustin Poirier just wants to put his little girl in the front row of the octagon to watch him win the undisputed title. I made a video talking about this. I hate this. And I actually replied to, I don't remember what account it was. Somebody was breaking news with a post. And I was like, have we learned nothing from Usman's daughter? Again, if you're interested in hearing my entire opinion on that, for some reason, it's a controversial take. I will never understand that. I hate when people bring their little kids to the front row of the audience. What's most likely to happen, Dustin Poirier, is you laying on the ground, crying again. And don't get me wrong, like, I like Dustin Poirier. I have a lot of respect for Dustin Poirier, but when he loses his title fights, he cries. So he's going to be bloody, beaten down, broken up, and in tears in the middle of the octagon in front of an entire arena. And his daughter's not even going to be with him. She's going to be alone and, like, have to watch daddy cry and maybe even, like, have life-changing damage. Because in reality, he's taking on Islam Makhachev. I don't understand it. I don't like it. But a big topic of conversation this week actually was the idea of Dustin Poirier bringing his daughter to the event. Because, honestly, a lot of people were memeing it. Because, of course, everyone thinks that Islam Makhachev is going to win the fight. Everybody thinks that. So, you saw a lot of posts about Colby like, well, I've never accomplished my dreams, stuff like that. We've also been seeing a lot of comparison to Kamaru Usman's daughter. I did that myself because that was just heartbreaking what he did to his daughter. I don't like it. I will never understand it, man. I'll never understand it. But again, if you want to hear my 6-8 minute take on the situation, go check out that video. Next up, guys, we have a little bit of controversy on the Colby Covington versus Ian Garry fight to maybe happen at UFC 303. We don't know when it's going to happen. Ian Garry said that he has received the contract to sign Colby Covington. He uploaded a video signing the contract and said, Colby, you can't talk all this crap and not back it up, so sign the contract, Colby, let's fight. Colby Covington is now saying that Ian Garry is lying, and I don't know if I can say this word on YouTube, so I'll just spell it. He said, "You can't believe a CUCK. Why would you believe that we got this contract? I would sign it. I would fight him." So you literally have one guy saying, I have the contract and I signed it, and another guy saying that I don't have the contract. There is no fight being materialized. And Colby's also talking about fighting up the rankings. He wants to fight Belal Muhammad right now because that will get him closer to a title. And Belal Muhammad's an easier fight than Ian Garry. I am personally more inclined to believe that Ian Garry's telling the truth because this is a massive, massive fight. This is something that the UFC would put together. This is something that makes sense in the rankings. I don't see why the UFC wouldn't send out this contract. It seems like the perfect fight to make, and especially for putting it on UFC 303, that will do incredible numbers. Colby Covington versus Ian Garry. So I personally think that Colby Covington is ducking Ian Garry, but of course we can't say for sure in that sense. I just wish when fighters were like publicly saying this online, where it's like, hey, I don't have the contract. Hey, I have the contract. I never understood why Dana White just doesn't drop in and say, hey, the contract's there. Colby's not signing. I don't get it. Why are we left with no answer here? I just wish somebody from the UFC, somebody like Dana White, would just drop in. It would take him 2 seconds. Ian Garry's telling the truth, you know? That way we don't have to constantly wonder who's right or who's lying or what fight is materializing. I know we're not necessarily owed that information, but it would be nice. Moving on to arguably the biggest topic of the week, Sean O'Malley and his coach. I wish I could show you this clip, but the UFC is very, very picky about copywriting, so I can't show this to you, but I'm sure if you've been anywhere in the MMA space this week, you have seen it. A clip came out of Sean O'Malley's coach in his fight with Aljamain Sterling. He kind of made, I don't know if he intentionally made his voice sound like Matt Serra, but I can kind of see it. All of a sudden, Aljamain Sterling's fighting. He goes, "You gotta go, Aljo!" And then Aljo actually darted forward, and that's when he got knocked out. He could have done that anyways. He didn't have to listen to him. He should have been paying attention to who was actually speaking to him. But if Aljamain Sterling charged forward because he heard "you gotta go, Aljo," that is crazy. That's insane. I actually don't see any problem with it, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of like a 200 IQ play. You don't see that too often. I never understood why more coaches actually don't do that. They don't talk. Like, even you listen to the fans talk back and forth to the fighters. The coaches, I'm sure, like, I don't know. I'm just surprised we haven't seen this happen yet. But that's a crazy, crazy thing that happened. So Aljamain Sterling has been going crazy on Twitter, yelling at Sean O'Malley, yelling at his coach, and we're going to cover that in an upcoming video, but we want to break down the next UFC card first. I want to see how much further they actually go on Twitter, because I don't want to start covering when like there's still tweets coming out about it. So you'll probably see that in a couple days from a video from myself. But for now, let's talk about the fight announcements. So there were only actually 3 fight announcements that we have so far for this week, and I actually think they're all really, really solid. First off, Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov on August 3rd. This is a long time coming. This is a fight that I can't wait to see personally. What's very interesting about this fight is you have Corey Sandhagen, who seems so confident that he found a way to beat the Dagestani style of Umar Nurmagomedov. And you know Corey Sandhagen, when this guy, we all know Corey Sandhagen, man. Like, the dude has a mind for MMA. So I'm actually curious if he actually sees a hole in the Dagestani's game, or he knows something and can actually capitalize on it. So I can't wait for that fight. I can't wait to see if Corey Sandhagen can actually get over Umar Nurmagomedov. Very, very interesting fight there. Continuing on, we have Peyton Talbot versus Yanis Gamora at UFC 303. Peyton Talbot, they're trying to push to be a big star. They're giving him a layup here. Not shocking at all. It's probably going to be like a minus 600 type fight. And with the Conor McGregor card, Peyton Talbot's definitely going to have a spectacular performance and make a name for himself. And then we have UFC 304, Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape. This is a banger. This is an absolute banger. I know that we see a lot online about people talking about Muhammad Mokaev being boring. I don't find the Dagestani style boring. I know that a lot of people they don't want Umar Nurmagomedov to win over Corey Sandhagen. People don't want Islam Makhachev to be champion. I find their style fascinating. I find it amazing the fact that these guys are so strong and they can just roll through their opponents. So I know that Muhammad Mokaev isn't exactly as good as your typical Dagestani fighter, but I still really enjoy watching him. And I like watching Manel Kape too. Like, that is a great, great fight. I cannot wait to watch this one. Guys, like I mentioned earlier, though, circling back to what we were talking about with Jon Jones, if you want to see all of the tweets that Jon Jones was replying to random fans, which is, again, insane, then check out this video on screen right now if you'd like to see it over there. Thank you for watching, guys. Take care.